Hello, fellow cyborgs, and welcome to another Pajama Sunday where I'm in my pajamas and I chat at your face about things. Today we're going to be talking about how to buddy read. I first started buddy reading this year in April, something around there, and I've already completed around 14 buddy reads, and I have 20 planned, upcoming, or currently doing, all combination of those three categories. So I do have quite some experience with buddy reads, but I know that before I completed my first buddy read, I had no clue what the protocols were, nothing on the internet talked about, I couldn't find blog posts or other vlogs or anything like that. So I thought that today I would share with you the how-tos of buddy reading, my experience of it, and some tips and tricks that may be helpful for you. This video was kindly suggested to me by Adam from Memento Mori. We recently buddy read Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami, translated by Philip Gabriel, and he said that his buddy read with me was one of his first. I think it might have been his first buddy read, and how he had no idea how it was going to go, and asked me did we do it right? What are the other options? What's going on? So I just decided to get on this and film it for this Pajama Sunday. So the three main ways that I have done buddy reads is by using three different applications. One of the ways that you can do your buddy read, or how you can discuss the book as a buddy read, is just by text messages, and I don't mean on your phone, but I mean messages in text form, either through email address if you feel comfortable exchanging email addresses, or through the Goodreads message system, or even through the Goodreads forum system if you make a group for your buddy read. Another way to do buddy reads is to have Google Hangouts, and again, this is if you feel comfortable doing that. Google Hangouts, Skyping, FaceTiming, whatever you like, and having one big discussion about the book and making an event about it and being able to see a person's face and chat to them over a cup of virtual tea. And another option, which is my personal favorite, is by using the Android, I think, and iPhone app Voxer, which you can, oh, my phone is all rainbow, which is that little walkie-talkie guy right there. So this is a free messaging app that allows you to send textual messages, voice clip messages, picture messages, GIF messages, and it puts it all in one place, like a text message on an iPhone, that sort of thing, like a conversation sort of thing. So the first buddy read I did was with Alina from Marla and Alina, and we buddy read I Capture the Castle. I Capture the Castle is divided into three parts, so we opted to have Google Hangouts together after the first and second part, and then after the third part, and I found that a little nerve-wracking because I'm a bit socially awkward, and seeing someone face-to-face, even if virtually, is still quite a bit nerve-wracking, but it ended up being lots of fun. We chatted about things other than I Capture the Castle, but it was a really nice space to just be able to go back and forth really quickly about your thoughts and get a more really personal vibe about a buddy read. Now, like I say, if the idea of Skyping or Google Hangouting with the person you're buddy reading with makes you uncomfortable, then don't do it, because we all need to be safe on the internet. But since Alina was a fellow booktube creator like myself, I was pretty sure that she wasn't an android or a simulation on her videos. I was pretty sure that she was a real person, and the Google Hangout just really worked for us. Next, I buddy read Little Dorrit with Kate Howe, but I've given away my copy, hence the picture I've put on screen. And we just use Goodreads messaging, emails, to communicate about Little Dorrit. And what we did is we read a certain number of chapters per week, and then on every Friday, we would talk about what we found interesting or insightful or infuriating at the end of that week. And with emails, you had time to think about what you wanted to say. You had time to, make yourself seem intelligent by formulating your sentences out all right, and you had time to read and think about someone's questions before just responding. So that was a really fun buddy read, and then we kind of comboed it at the very end. Once we were finally done with Little Dorrit, it took us about 2 months. We also did a Google Hangout just to talk about our final thoughts and just chat about other things. So that was really fun, and I thought that the Goodreads messages worked really well for a classic because you kind of need to think more about it, and with the messaging email sort of scenario, you get the time to think about what you want to say. And then when I buddy read A Tale for the Time Being with Michaela from Betwixt the Books and Hillary from Your Robot Friend, we used Voxers, but only the text messaging part, and that was really fun. I got to have an idea about how to use Voxer. What we would do was, I think we had a set number of pages that we were supposed to read per day, but before each message, we would, if anything spoilery was going to be in the message, we we'd say like, I'm on page blah, and I think la 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 la. But a lot of times we talked about just general things because we didn't want to spoil anything, and also that lended itself really well with A Tale for the Time Being. It's the sort of book where there aren't plot points that are like, oh, scandalous, we need to talk about this. There's a lot more just like general things. We're talking about the characters themselves. We're talking about how we were feeling with the book and feeling with the dual narratives of this book. That was the first Voxer buddy read that I ever participated in, and it really got me used to Voxer, and I really liked it. And then, like I mentioned before, my buddy read of Kafka on the Shore with Adam from Memento Mori, we used Voxer, but we primarily used voice messaging. Now, the cool thing with voice messaging, and it's my preferred method of buddy reads, is that you get a personal, more intimate connection with someone like you would on the Google Hangout. However, it's not as immediate as a Google Hangout, and you don't have to look pretty, so you can get the emotion that someone's saying, but it's not as instantaneous. You have the break to think about what you want to say, and then you can just blather into your phone. Or in my case, my iPod Touch, because I don't have a smartphone. I'm also not very practiced on typing with text on my iPod Touch because I don't have a smartphone, so I'm not good at it. It's really slow for me. It's really arduous for me. Tap, tap, tap. Oh crap, go back. No. Tap, 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 tap. So with the Voxer voice messages, I can get my ideas across much more quickly. It's a lot more of an enjoyable experience to share my thoughts using the Voxer voice messages than otherwise. So like I said, I did that with Kafka on the Shore with Adam. Also with the Complete Cosmocomics by Italo Calvino with Victoria from A Hermit's Progress. And this was actually the first buddy read that I did where we primarily used voice messaging. And that was so much fun. And we ended up like having so much to say about various things. Like we got off topic sometimes about Harry Potter and rereading books and stuff, but we would have to watch the clock and make sure that we didn't talk too long, because with the Voxer voice messages you have a 15-minute interval for each voice message, and it'll just cut you off at the 15 minutes. So we had to make sure that we stopped like at a stopping point at 12 minutes, let the button up, and then started a new voice message so that all of our thoughts could be said without it just being chopped off, because we sometimes talked for like 30 minutes like individually and just sent like a 30-minute message out to the other person to then listen to. During the day when I was listening to those messages, it felt like I had gone over to her house and sat down with a cup of tea with her and chatted for 3 hours, between the two of us. It was really fun, and it really got me to love the Voxer voice messaging aspect. And then more recently, I participated in a group Voxer voice messaging buddy read of The Murder Room by P.D. James. I did this with Kate Howe, Kate Tonks from A Novel Nomad, Sarai from Sarai Talks Books, and Whitney from All the Shelves. And we read this mystery book and then left each other voice messages. This was really fun, and I thought that the voice messaging, the Voxer app, made it so that when people were catching up, they were able to just not listen until they caught up, and then they could catch up with what everyone had said. And I think it probably would have taken less time than catching up with like comments on a Goodreads forum group page or something like that. So it worked out really well, and it was really fun to have so many different perspectives on this mystery book and genre that I am not familiar with. Alright, so now that you've got an idea of the different formats that I've used and their pros and cons and stuff like that, let me talk to you about pacing and how to schedule your buddy reads. So it depends upon the book and it depends upon the kind of reader, but you can divide your buddy read into chunking up the book. So like with I Captured the Castle, we read 2 out of the 3 parts of the book, then stopped and discussed, then we read the last part of the book and stopped and discussed. Or as in A Tale for the Time Being, we read 50 pages a day and then talked when we had something to say, hoping that everyone had kept up with that pace so everyone was good to go. With the Little Dora buddy read, like I said, we read chapters per day rather than pages and adjusted the pace as we saw fit. We started, I think, with 2 chapters per day for the first couple of weeks, and then we had to slow down to more like 1 chapter a day, and there was even a week where Kate was traveling and we slowed down to 3 chapters for just 1 week. And then you can do something like with Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. I buddy read this with Mero from A Blackbird's Books, in that she read it and then the next week I just was happening to read it, and once I was finished we just discussed it. So we didn't technically read it contemporaneously, we didn't read it together, but we both read it really recently that we could still talk about it as if we had read it together. And this is totally a way that you can do it. You can, depending upon the book, just read it all the way through and then discuss right at the end. You don't have to increment it out as much. I think that this way of buddy reading is great if people have really different reading paces or different busy schedules, so that you don't have to worry about keeping pace with the other person. You can just say, okay, in August, we are reading Cloud Atlas. Tell me when you're done and we can discuss it. And I will write my questions down as we go and it'll be hunky-dunky. That way, no one's under pressure. No one's feeling guilty about leaving someone else behind. The book gets read at a pace that's comfortable for you, and then you get to discuss it. I think my preferred way of buddy reading is chapters per week or chapters per day, depending upon how it works out. I like how at that point we stop at a stopping point like every week and discuss what's happened up until then. You get little discussions leading up, and then you have one big overall discussion at the end. I think my least favorite is pages per day, because I'm the sort of person who can't put a book down for the night halfway through a chapter. Unless it's a unique situation, I have to get to a stopping point either at the end of a chapter or at the end of a part of a book before I put it down to go to sleep. So pages a day doesn't necessarily work out to a neat stopping point. My particular sort of personality doesn't really gel with that as much. But as I said, it depends upon the book and it depends upon the sorts of readers that are involved in this buddy read. So you just got to pick for yourself and play around. Just because you decide that you're going to read 50 pages a day at the beginning of the book doesn't mean you can't go, hey guys, I've got a really tough week coming up. Can we slow it down? You can always change the pace around. I'm assuming that the person you're buddy reading with is awesome and cool and okay with making this a fun situation for both people. So just talk to one another and see what'll happen. See what you prefer and see what you'd like to change as the buddy read moves forward. So I hope this video has been helpful for people who are new to buddy reads or people who've only ever used one format for their buddy reads. Please let me know in the comments down below if you have any other tips and tricks as far as buddy reads, or maybe what your favorite buddy reading experience has been. Thank you for watching, and until next time, go try buddy reading a book and continue to be lovely. You are a blossoming panda. Just gets weirder every time.